Hi everybody, Lucy Looker here, very excited to report on the Foreave Stars International. And we have a wonderful star today from the US Bands Included Cooperative, and this star has been all over the world. She is an author. As you might see later on, we'll tell you all her books that she's written. Anyway, I'm very excited. I've known this lady for many years, and I'm glad that I'm able to bring her to you today because she lives quite a long way away, and she found time in her busy schedule to come and see us. Oh, hi. How are you doing? Let me give you a hug, sweetie, for coming all this
absolutely.
way.
Anytime.
I hope you had a nice journey and it wasn't too hard.
No, it was wonderful. I was driving like a maniac.
Driving like a maniac. Well, I would like to introduce you to Avia Belle Moon. A beautiful name.
Thank you.
So Avia, I would really enjoy it if you could tell all our viewers exactly, all about your life. I know you've been to many different countries, and you also were in Japan for a long time. And as we can see on the table, we have 2 of your books, and this is another one of your books. So I really want you to tell us, your story. How did you decide to be an entrepreneur and be an independent author and all your dreams? So, Avia Belle Moon.
Thank you.
Moon, sorry.
Thank you so much. I've always wanted to be a writer. I've always wanted to write since I was a child, actually. Ever since, I was a reader when I was a child. I used to go to the library and check out 10 or 20 books, and that was just my joy, going into my room and reading. And just reading anything you can imagine. Some favorite books were the Phantom Toll Booth. Sorry,
Ooh.
That's one of my favorites, and Willy Wonka,
Oh.
and of course it's still being read now, but Ramona the Pest. All of those wonderful books, and I remember going to the author go-round, here. Actually, that was locally in the Central Coast when I was living here.
Could you explain a little bit about that? You said it's an author go-round?
The author go-round is something they have every year, and it's for children at the elementary schools, and maybe I think it's just elementary, but children's authors come and they talk to the children about their books, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful program. And I remember clearly going to that, and I think that kind of inspired me to also be an author.
Wow.
And just ever since I've been a child, I've loved reading, and at some point then I decided that I wanted to be a writer. And when I was in high school, I wrote for the high school magazine and newspaper, and I was on the newspaper staff. And in my late 20s, I went to Japan, and that was when I decided I was going to write a novel.
It's exciting that you tell me that you were actually on a magazine and you started your career that way. Because Lucy Looker, as everybody knows, I'm the reporter for the Foreave Stars International. And that's exactly how I felt. I was with the Australian Broadcasting Corporation in Australia, and I was a part of the social club. And I brought out Lucy Looker as my persona to write. And so I know that feeling of being able to put words on print and actually put your feelings out there and be somebody else.
Right, okay. So we have that in common then.
Yes,
yeah.
And so Avia Belle Moon is your writing persona?
Yes, I guess you could say that. It's just another, I think, people have multifaceted personalities. I don't believe that I don't know if I could put it in a way where it would be, I don't even believe we're many different souls and many different people and personas in one person. It's not like a Sybil thing when you have those multiple personalities, but I'm saying I think we have many lifetimes in one lifetime. It's hard to explain. Just like referring to this book, 1,000 Years of Love, this book here, which I'm sorry I forgot to bring actually, but there's the cover there. I began writing that in 1998 in Japan. And it was almost 1,000 years ago that a woman named Murasaki Shikibu wrote a very similar book called Tale of Genji. And it's interesting because I almost felt like I was reliving a past life in Japan when I was writing that book in this lifetime. And I think it's just so fascinating, and I never thought I would go to Japan and write a book about the Heian period, but it's like around that time I became very interested in and also like obsessed with it, that period. And I know that I was there like 1,000 years ago, living this lifetime in Kyoto, Japan, and ancient Japan and China. And it's almost like I was reliving it then. You know, that's what
It's a very exciting book, because I have, I've dabbled into all of your books, and I've read all parts of your book and got involved in it, and then I go back and read some more, and they're very exciting books that you write.
Yeah, yes. Yeah.
And that's why probably you feel that you are many personas or many characters, because I too feel that way, because not only am I Lucy Looker, the reporter for Foreave Stars, but you all know that I am Ravel, the singer, songwriter, and I play Tutu for the young children.
Yes.
You're saying the same thing to me. You're saying, yes, I have all these characters and people, and I feel like I've lived many lifetimes, and I agree. I think that many of us feel that, because when we meet somebody, sometimes it's like, oh, what is deja vu, other than maybe a previous lifetime? You know,
yes,
so it's
yes,
a very exciting
very
life to be able to go, okay, I need to go all the way to Japan and have this feeling of writing a book. I mean, tell us more about that. It sounds exciting.
It wasn't like I felt I need to go to Japan. It's just something, your life is just a journey, and it just happened. And I wasn't, like I said, I wasn't planning on writing a book about the Heian period. I know I had a fascination with Japanese art and culture, and so it came about naturally, and just sort of a real sort of addiction to beauty, you know. And so Japan is such a beautiful country and beautiful culture, and so it just came about naturally. And I think that, you know, I experienced a lot of things, I don't know, psychologically. Japan is a very complex country, you know, culturally, and there's two sides, you know. They call it the outer and inner sides, uramote. There are anyways. So I don't want to go into that, but
because just getting, you know, so the viewers understand a little more. It's when I was raised in Australia, so I was born in England, raised in Australia, and I always had this inner thing, I've got to go back to England, you know. So I'm wondering, is your family, I mean, is your heritage Japanese? I mean, are you from there, or your family?
Yes,
so tell us a little bit about your family, siblings.
I'm half Japanese, and I have a brother and a sister, and my mother is Japanese.
Okay, so that's why you have the love to go back.
Yes,
you have family over in Japan.
Yes, I do. Yes. I do, and a real strong affinity to Japan and to Asia in general.
Right.
But you know, it just, the whole process came about naturally of me writing the book and being so. I feel that to produce a work of art, you know, you really need to be obsessed with it to the point where that obsession will sustain you in the process from beginning to end. You know, sustain you in that creative process from beginning to end, because it's not easy to come up with, you know, the ideas and then do the research. This book took 5 years, and I think I've succeeded in presenting that world, that Heian world. Is such a unique and beautiful world, and that was my goal. And then with the second book here is written in modern. It was set in modern Japan, and that kind of explores the, you know, the psychological, I don't know, parts of Japan, or the consciousness there.
This is the
that's called Temple of the Dueling Heart.
Yes, I know. And that was a fascinating book.
Yes,
definitely had lots going on it. All of you out there, I do believe that you can get these books online.
Yes, you can get these two available as ebooks. Actually, Temple of the Dueling Heart and 1,000 Years of Love are available as ebooks on Amazon. And so ready for download. Also, you know, available in paperback from Trafford. And, you know, this book here, if you look at the cover, it's actually Rorschach art, Temple of the Dueling Heart. And you know, if you're familiar with the Rorschach test, it's a psychological test that is given to people. And there's also an art form called Rorschach. And so it was just sort of, I feel that, you know, when you're writing, you're just sort of minding your consciousness and accessing those deeper levels and going deeper and deeper. And that's why art and psychology is just so, you know, so related, and it's really fascinating. And so kind of a catharsis of my time there, stay in Japan and on one level.
Can you just tell the folks too, you are on Facebook.
Yes.
So could you give them the Facebook and the emails, and if you have any phone numbers, If you could just tell the viewers so that they can go and get a book, because I know many times with authors, you know, it's like, yes, you can get my book, and then you go to Borders, or you go, well, Borders is closed locally, but I mean, if you go to any of the bookstores, sometimes you can't find them. So
It's absolutely
where can
true.
they actually, you know, can you give them the link? Can you speak
Well,
about,
you know, the best way, I mean, if you're, the best way is to get the books on Amazon if you're not here locally in Santa Barbara. If you're here local, living in Santa Barbara, they're at Curious Cup in Carpinteria. I believe that Tecolote in Montecito has 2 copies of my latest book, Spiritland. And then, but you can buy these 2 books on Amazon, available in paperback or as ebook download. And hopefully this Spiritland will also be available as ebook soon. It's a little bit more complex. But, or you can, you know, contact me directly at booksales@aviabellemoon.com.
That's aviabellemoon.com.
And I'm on Facebook. Just Google aviabellemoon.com. You know, send me a friend request. I'm very open. And the last book, Spiritland, is something just, who thought I would write a book on ghosts, you know?
Ghosts, I think that's interesting.
Isn't it? You know, I returned to Santa Barbara in 2007, actually, no, 19. We're in the 21st century here. 2007, and I lived in a haunted house, believe it or not. And that was just a whole nother fascinating just departure now. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's like the artist's life is its artistic journey, and we don't know where we're going to go. We don't know, you know, where we're going to end up. But I think that you should just let it happen, you know. And I became very fascinated with the paranormal and supernatural, because I experienced such a profound experience with actually you know, a few ghosts that were living in my house, and since then other paranormal experiences. And I believe that because I have somewhat of an open personality, that my spirituality, my whole being is open to that, and so the spirits can sense that, and they're kind of, you know, like,
I understand
hone in on me.
because I've experienced a lot of paranormal stuff.
I know, you mentioned that.
Spiritual stuff. And the house that we had before is the Dream Machine, because you know this is the Dream Machine USA, where we do the Mini Woodstock Festival studio TV show. We had the same thing on Garden Street. And where we lived on Garden Street in Santa Barbara, there was definitely ghosts. We met few. And in fact, some of the people that we loved that passed came through our house to tell us that they passed. And then we found out later that they had passed. And they were, you know, people that, you know, actually it was one of them was a very good friend of Dan's. And so I definitely believe in ghosts. It's not spirit. I mean, ghost is a funny word to use as a comedy or whatever, but really spirits. I think spirits sometimes are not at peace. And they're trying to tell us something. Mm-hmm. And rather than be scared of them, I really think we ought to communicate with them.
That's what I feel exactly. And I feel that, you know, we should be compassionate to them as well.
Definitely.
You know, because some of them, this particular spirit that was living in the house where I was staying, this ghost, it was a child, and he was stuck, you know, because he had no one to listen to his story, and it was just absolutely fascinating. And that whole experience led me to believe that, oh my gosh, well, there's so much we don't know, you know, that life is truly eternal, and where do we go after we die? And this whole, you know, became a continuation of this artistic journey. And it led me also, now I'm writing a screenplay.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and I'm very interested in film. I just think film is the ultimate medium. And you know, I just really, my goal now is to actually make a film. And it will have some paranormal elements. I'm just really excited about this, but it's really been quite a challenge to produce a screenplay. I think even, you know, more difficult in some ways than writing a book. With writing a book, you can kind of fall back on description and whatnot, but with a screenplay, you've got to have such a good sense of dialogue and structure. And but I think it's the ultimate for me to really, you know, produce a film and working with people that are so, you know, that would be totally engaged and passionate about the subject, and, you know, having all those different artistic elements involved. You've got the writing, you've got photography, and you have music. And I would just, you know, for me, if I can produce a fantastic film, maybe a few films before I you know, pass on to the next life or whatever, that would just be really a fantastic dream. And I think I have many dreams, and that's one of them. And I'm working on a screenplay. I've just finished my first draft, and the artist, you know, needs some time in isolation to produce their work, but then also, you know, to engage with the community and to support people, because especially women, I feel that it's difficult to be you know, I don't know of too many women screenwriters, and I feel that's something that really is needed, is women in film, more and more. It's a very male dominated
well, it's
know,
like all, it's
like
the
most.
same in music, it's the same, right? It's everywhere,
Yeah.
isn't it, really? I think that we're really breaking free. The female is just like, a bit like your book, and, you know, this book is a very interesting book about women, I think. And, yes. So let's look at the future of Avia Belle Moon. What are you going to do? What is
Look into the crystal ball, right?
Yeah, what do you have, you know, up your sleeve for the future? I know you just explained about your wanting to put a film out there. Is there anything, you know, coming up for you this year, next year, that you have, where people can engage, you know, in conversation with you, hear your book? Do you do book readings, or?
Of course, I've done quite a few book signings here in Santa Barbara and also in LA. As far as this year goes, well, we're already into May, and so you know, I really, if I could just finish my screenplay to the form where it actually be ready to be pitched and presented to a producer, I think that's quite a lot of work. So that's going to take a lot of downtime on me, sitting in front of the computer and just actually, you know, working on that, producing the, you know, the right drafts. You know, I'm on my second rough draft, and it's crime-based, and so it's has criminal element theme. So I'm working with, you know, the police, actually local police, and I have a friend who's a former police officer, and the lead character is a detective. So it's quite a lot of work. Researching, you know, the language and that whole culture. It's just, and I find it's interesting because I find that culture just as fascinating as I did with, you know, Japanese culture. It's just fascinating to me, and I think that to be a writer, you need to really, really be so into it. And it's not about the money. It's not about you know, doing whatever's trendy. You just have to find something that you are just so fascinated with that it's going to sustain you through that incredibly difficult process from beginning to end. So as far as this year goes, you know, I really want to finish my screenplay, and to do that is going to be quite a lot of work. And actually, I also would like to you know, also create an ebook series as well. I have quite a few ideas.
Wow, this is great. Well, I would like to thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thank you.
You know, really, give me a hug, Debbie. And yeah, it was lovely having you.
Thank you.
I hope that next year, when this film, you know, takes a hold, or whenever you would like to come back, and tell us what you've been doing, you know, with your writing career, you know, as an entrepreneur, as an independent writer. So please, you know, I do hope you will come back. That will be great, and we'll really look forward to seeing you.
Oh, thank you,
So,
and good luck to you too.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Cheers to that. Yes, and
cheers to artistic success.
Definitely, and thank you so much for coming to us. Hello everybody, my name is Janet Ravel Orr, and yes, I'm the CEO and founder of Foreave Stars International and the producer of the Mini Woodstock Festival. I thought it was time that I talked to you people all out there, our viewers in Santa Barbara, and I want to say thank you very much for your attention over the last year. It's been a lot of fun. This has been a dream of mine since 1978. Long before that, I've always been a performer, written stories, made characters up, and I am Janet. And then many people wrote to me and said, well, who's Janet? So I just thought I'd let you know that this is Janet. I'm me right now. Lucy Looker is one of my characters. She's the reporter that I brought out to report on all the Foreave Stars International. Tutu, as you all know, if you've been watching the show, she works with the young artists, entrepreneurs who have dreams for their future. And then there's Ravel, who I brought out of the UK bands, including Co-op, as the world's first metal rock motoring superstar. She's a singer, songwriter, and married Dan Orr, musician, and they both brought two beautiful children into the world, Arthur Orr and Idonna Rose Orr. And that was the dream that I wanted. I wanted to live the life as a rock and roll star, but I didn't want to have to lose Janet, which is myself. So I created myself out of Ravel, Foreman, and a lads band in the United Kingdom, and produced the record and starred as Ravel all around England and Europe and Australia, and was like an underground movement that I put together for everybody to enjoy, hopefully, that you are out there, an entertaining show. Well, I'm here today because I wanted to let my family know all around the world that yes, Janet still does exist and she still is alive. And of course, she sits in the background and she does everything to keep the whole Foreave Stars International Cooperative together. That's what Janet does. That's what I do. Once again, thank you so much, everybody. And any of you musicians, performers, actors, entrepreneurs, please, give Janet a call, give Janet an email, give us a call. Let us put you on the show. Let everybody out there see how talented you are so that you can enjoy your life as an entrepreneur and an individual artist. So I'm going to sign off right now. Hope you do enjoy this month's Mini Woodstock Festival. And keep watching, everybody. Okay? All right. Bye-bye for now from Galita in California at the Dream Machine USA. Bye-bye for now.